So in the last video, we talked about people who are self-narrating. Now, one of the things that we can, and actually really like doing, is people who've struggled through and created their own audio files and asking us to work with those files and make sure they get distributed globally. And we have done that very recently with two very different types of books and authors. One of them is actually being uploaded as we speak.
Yeah.
So Kristen had two books to upload today, one being Love Partition that we'll talk about in the next video, and Alex Urquhart, who has written a book called Imagining the Bennets. Very long book, many chapters, and that means something in audiobook land because it means every chapter is an audio file. So if we've got something like 50, 80, I think he had, over 80 audio files, each one of them needs to be numbered properly. There's a certain sequence, there are certain things that are required to ensure that they pass the regulations, everything, all the standards that are needed by an audiobook distributor. So certainly with Alex, we knew that the files were going to be good because they'd been narrated by a performer we use and love, Alyssa Armitage. She resides in England. So Alex had gone to a great deal of trouble. I think he came to us a little bit annoyed that, he'd had a few bruising experiences in the publishing world.
It's tough out there.
It is tough.
Very murky and muddy and confusing.
We're writers. We know that. Like, where do you start? Who do you go to? Who do you trust? Is this what it really costs?
And it's exhausting.
And it's exhausting. So he was a little bit exhausted by the time he came to us. He'd obviously decided, no, damn it, I'm just going to do it myself. I'm just imagining, what was in his mind. And so he came to us with his files. He said, they're all perfect, they're all fine, upload them. So we went through the files, we numbered them correctly. He asked us quite a few questions, and I think somewhere we all started to become very friendly. I don't know how that happened. He's an awesome guy.
You said you quite liked working with him.
It
sounded
very
really
much.
positive. It's because usually we're used to working with people from the start.
Yeah.
They come, they bring their book to us. It's a
Yeah.
whole journey. But to have someone come, towards the end of the piece to
And
hand
just
it over at the end.
hand it over.
But there was still quite a bond that formed.
It was, because I think he started to talk or ask questions about things that had confused him, that he didn't have really, Dr. Google doesn't always work, or they get...
Especially not ChatGPT.
ChatGPT doesn't always work. And, all sorts of beings can hallucinate, not just ChatGPT, actually. So he came to us and we had lots of interchanges about what happens in the world, of audiobook production and particularly publishing and distribution. And then I could almost hear him sigh with relief, and we started to work together. We, kind of recommend that he change the cover of his book, so that it stands out more in audiobook world. A lot of people don't realize that you need a different type of cover for an audiobook. It does need to be a different configuration and specifications. So we usually recommend what those are, and we can certainly do it ourselves, but if an author already has a printer or a designer, they can do it easily themselves. We do recommend that you put the narrator's name on the front cover just because it looks great. And there are a lot of performers who've got their own following. So you're actually then taglining other people who will help to market your book. So that's just been uploaded today. We've helped with the metadata. We give recommendations on a number of distributors that we can use any distributor. It's really the choice of the author. We don't take royalties. We're a production house. And we don't have a relationship with any financial relationship with any particular distributor. So we're in a good position to be able to kind of give the pros and cons.
And work with what's best for the author.
Work with what's best for the author. So there was a choice made. We ensured that they got the best royalty rates possible because of the habitual relationship we have and reputation we have with the distributor. They're being uploaded. It means that within 2 weeks, it will definitely be, and certainly within 4, on every major global audiobook sales platform on the planet, including Audible and Kobo and Apple Books, Google Books, Spotify. Spotify's really fast, and it'll get your book up in a week and a half. Any of the platforms will put you up for pre-sale, and as long as you've got all the metadata filled in correctly, you're home and hosed. So it was lovely working with you, Alex. Look forward to working with you on your next book, and to any degree you want. Similarly with Nat Kringoudis.
Yeah.
Amazing. She's a podcaster, author,
And book Beautiful You.
Beautiful You, and it's hilarious. It treats beauty as a thing that everyone deserves, but does deal with beauty issues, particularly for women. And I think there's a whole first chapter about menstruation.
Yeah.
let's just go there.
Yeah.
Just a funny retelling of stories of her own life as well. Very down to earth and really wonderful and inspiring. She came to us with a series of files, and we have worked with them. We certainly repair files, or we I don't know what kind of term to use, recouture them. I come from the fashion industry, in my family. So, we sort of certainly sew and stitch them so that if it's at all humanly possible, so that they do reach the stands and they don't get rejected by the distributor.
Because it does happen. They do.
Oh,
they
definitely.
get pushed back.
You get the pushback. Sometimes if you're using particular types of distributors, it's 3 or 4 weeks before you find out that your files have been rejected. And then you have to start all over again and find out what's wrong, then go and repair them, then come back and hope for the best.
Yep.
What we can do is absolutely let you know yes or no, and very transparently say this is how much it would cost us to repair or not. We're very, with Peter's, there was nothing to repair. With Alex's, there was nothing to repair. No charge for that. It was just about a single flat fee for helping him upload and nursing him through that process. With Nat, there was work that needed to be done. She was quite happy with, it was all very fair and reasonable. And so we have now doctored, those files, and they are ready to upload as soon as they've decided on small final decisions, like which section is going to be the promotion, the promotional material, and so on and so forth. So that was that's worked really well. We can work with you on your own audio files. What I do find though with people who decide they're going to do it themselves, the whole, what I call the IKEA approach, absolutely, that's fine. It does take a long time. Put aside 6 months. With some people it's been a year. It just takes that long, to work through material.
I think of it as the whole grand designs, where these people have these concepts of building this beautiful home, and sure, but often along the way there's just setbacks that they don't realise if they go about it themselves. Whereas, we're definitely there along the way to help them if that happens, but I think a lot of people find it smoother if they come to us from the start.
Well, and just to give you an example, when we sit down with a performer and that first meeting, performer and the author and our team, and we say, we would like this to be done within 2 to 4 weeks in terms of recording, for this reason. The performer, first of all, gig economy, so they will lock that time up, they will rehearse, they will get it done. But also the voice and the zone into which they go is a particular zone. So you want to stay in that zone and you want to stay in that voice. once the seasons change, once the weather changes, if our performers usually perform at the same time every day, so their voice is in that space every day and sounds the same, because it's very easing and relaxing to the ear to hear the homogeneity of a voice, and know that you're entering this world with that voice for this period of time.
I think that's a good segue to our next video to talk about what we've been working on, from like projects from scratch.
Projects from scratch. Next video.